Alright, as usual, do so with People News. I'm not an attorney, nor care to be an attorney. This is only opinions and opinions only. It's a learning video, y'all. Take it as you wish. Okay? And never look just straight forward. Always look around you to be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Alright, there's no sense doing any more introduction. Let's proceed forward.
Say so. That's part of the process, and I didn't get it overnight either. I was something of a slow learner. But when you start studying and you realize the true situation and perspective, that's when you get the real value of life that we're supposed to have. And you go out there and you go into their courtrooms like I do, and I say it with attitude and with authority in their faces. Now, your situation, Georgette, I'll get some things, and I haven't noticed a lot of this, but the problem they're going to have with the mortgage lender, quote unquote, is number one, they haven't made effective service of process. There's that pesky U.S. Supreme Court again, Penoria Renef 95 U.S. 714. And to do that, what they would have to do, since they treat us all as corporate citizens now, 14th Amendment, right? To serve a corporation, what do you have to do? In your case, Georgette, they have to serve your designated agent for service of process in Raleigh. But you probably don't have one, do you?
Have
and
one.
You don't need one.
One what?
Designated agent for service of process. If you're a corporation, that's how they get corporations into their courts. That's how they're treating you. But they haven't done it, and they can't do it. And it gets even better because with corporations, the rule for citizenship comes out of a case called Bank of Augusta v. Earl in 1839, I believe. And the corporate citizenship relies on the state citizenship of those who incorporated it. If we can prove there are no states, and I have an 83-page brief unopposed on that subject, they're not there. They don't exist. We do, they don't. See you later. That's how that works. You get people out of here. And here again, we get back to, see, I'm just checking my notes to be sure I get everything in here.
And while you're doing that, I'll say, when I was in court 2 weeks ago, I asked the judge about the difference between the name on the documents in front of him and me, the living woman. But he wouldn't answer. I asked him 2 or 3 times and he wouldn't answer.
Well, they can't do that on the record because if your name is in all capital letters, they're treating you as a corporation, like I just suggested. And that's treason to the Constitution. Oh, by the way, they simply can't. And, I'll get Adam to get you. I know he has some quotes from a case called Windsor v. McVeigh. No, not Tim McVeigh, who I think maybe got screwed over in Oklahoma City, but this one is in 1865, and you read what the Supreme Court has to say about notice and opportunity to be heard. It's a stunner. But it's just, wow. They should make decisions like that these days, John Roberts. Why don't you review that case and get on it? My goodness. And getting back to Cohen v. Virginia, here's another quote from Cohen's that talks about where the court says that, any state that uses paper money, to pay off debts, all they do is they discharge the obligation. The debt is still due. There is no way for you to pay the debt with paper money, which is all they learn by hitting a few strokes on their keyboard and transferring money to your account, quote unquote money. That's it. They don't have anything. And at common law, that would be an affirmative defense, and they wouldn't even have filed a claim, let alone gotten to a jury, if North Carolina was the state admitted into this union, which at one time it was. These are the kinds of jurisdictional traps that they're going to be running into. and we're just loaded with them. I mean, it just doesn't stop here. And let's see the other one I have here. Oh, yeah, I mentioned the McVeigh case. By the way, that's Windsor v. McVeigh, 93 U.S. 274. Those of you get on my Winning in Court site at YouTube, that's one of the bonus documents you get with a lot of quotes from that case. It'll really wake you up as to what should be happening and should still be happening now with our right to be heard in a common law forum. If we get that back, we put them out of business. That's the magnitude of the issues. And ultimately, Georgette, that may be what wins your case, because with these issues, if you're a mortgage lender, I would not want to risk having any of these issues come out on the public record for openers and any one of them getting ruled on by a court, because if that happens and they're unopposed issues, they have to rule in our favor, don't they? And that undoes every mortgage from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon. It's all the same issue. It isn't just your case here. That's the power we have. And just, but if we just knew that and learned it in school and went out there and could manage our affairs, and that's the other thing, this system thinks that we're innately incompetent to do anything. As Adam knows, you walk into their court, particularly in a quote-unquote criminal proceeding, but really in all of them, they presume incompetence, like they did with me in South Carolina. And when that happened, if I could have thrown up my hands, I would have when the judge said that. And I said, oh, here we go. Which I call Prevetta v. California, Judge 422 U.S. 806. The problem with that is the Supreme Court said in Barron v. Baltimore, 7 Peters 243, 1828, the Bill of Rights doesn't apply to the states. It's done the courtroom into silence. You've never seen anything like that. But that's the problem. If they're going to presume, think about this, if they're going to presume we're incompetent, how does the prosecutor prove we have the competence to form the criminal intent to commit the crime?
Ah, cool.
Even better yet, think about this one. If we're incompetent, how do we magically regain quote-unquote competence on election day?
Wow.
I mean, it's ludicrous when you think about it, and that's what studying does. You start to put pieces like this together, and you say, "My goodness, you go from A, B, C. It all comes together." And it didn't for me either. It took me. I was a slow learner. It took me 10,000 hours in those messy old stacks of law books back in the day when I could get into UC Berkeley across the bay, the 5th largest law library in the country, and later Hastings in San Francisco, neither of which I can do now. But yeah, it just could come together, and you say, "What in the world has happened here?" And we're trying to fix it. And whether I get across the Red Sea, I don't know. I'm now 73, and with family history, I got a good 8 or 10 years, maybe a bit longer with that, since I very rarely get big pharma stuff. But the funny thing for me, last year I went through a session with enlarged prostate, and I went in there, and they asked for a medical history, and I laughed, and I said, I don't have one. 71 years old. They asked, what was the last medication you took? And I said, gee, that goes back to 1992, and I took some medication for... I can't think right now, but I took medication. I had a bad case of pneumonia, which is going to be the COD for me later on. And I took some medication then, but I've never been big on taking any of the big pharma medication. I was brought up in a family that we had people in the earlier generations. In fact, my great-grandmother was the informal town doctor of the town she was in, because the doctor they had also doubled as the town drunk. So she had been doing a lot of medication. Actually, they charged her with practicing medicine without a license these days. But she was very good at what she did, and my mom learned from her, and my grandmother learned from her, and they in turn taught me a lot of things coming down the road. So, and I was never sick, and I'm thankful every day for my great health. That's every day I am, because I know how important that is. So it is what it is with that. But then you start thinking about all these things, and you're saying, how are they doing this? But if we make timely objections and get it on the record, as I said, that's the power we have, because one decision like this, especially from the U.S. Supreme Court, it changes everything. The whole equation happens, and now we get back and quickly. And that's what I want to do, and that's why we beat them in front of a jury, because there's going to be a good chunk of change that we're going to get, you're going to get, all of us will. But we get in front of a jury, they're going to see we're there to make differences in how they do business, and that will affect the jurors and their families. We're going to have a lot of credibility. What do we have on the other side? A dozen attorneys sitting over there in $2,000 designer suits. Thank you very much. That's not much in the way of credibility, is it? That's all they're there for, is the money. And that's why we're never going to see. Well, I'm never going to see a jury. I haven't, and I won't. I'd be shocked if I ever. I'd love it, but I'd be shocked if it happens because they simply can't risk it. You know, the system is still built that way. So that's sad. I've probably really gone on and on here a bit, but hopefully you make some good points to the listeners out there. And like I say, you visit Adam's website, thespiritoflaw.com, and mine at When in Court on YouTube, and you can learn a lot about how this stuff works and what you can do about it, and teach your children and your posterity to do about it. And I still am naive enough to think that there is. I mean, I can't believe the founders went through all this, to create the government they created and to have it come out this way. Although there are those that say we may have been sold up by the Treaty of Paris in 1783, and there is an argument to be made there beyond the scope of this video. There is something to be said for that. But we've lived for 230 years in good faith belief that we have a constitution, and I'm going to continue to do so unless or until the contrary clearly appears. And quickly as I answer, by the way, to Donald Trump, with the quote-unquote election last year, and of course there's no presidential election, but you'd be much better making that argument that, there was a lot of fraud in that election, and that's because the voter registration forms prohibit at least any lawful de jure, just and honest free white state citizens from registering to vote. Where's the consent of the governed here? That's the issue they should be deciding in the U.S. Supreme Court. That's a winner, chicken dinner. Ah, goodness. That's it. Back to you, Adam.
Well, I'm feeling great. We've been at it for an hour and a half, and really shared a lot of wonderful, beautiful things. And it's a whole lot of stuff for someone maybe just coming to this to digest. But Bill does have an amazing YouTube channel. It's called When in Court. And, hopefully we'll all get together and do some videos to keep updates with what we're doing, especially, too, with Georgette's case. If you have any questions, you can go to thespiritoflaw.com. There's a contact form there, or Bill's email is youwhenincourt@gmail.com. And thank you.
Thank you all.
Oh, thank you too. Enjoy doing this. Would love to do it again sometime, and I'm sure we will be. Whether I'll be in there doing it from a jail cell, I don't know, but we'll just have to see how that turns out. Because the problem is, I've been out here in California 40 years. I've not been able to get into jail here. It took South Carolina to do that.
Do you want to leave with a kiss for John Roberts, Bill?
Oh, I don't know about that. It'd just be nice if people started to do your job, for the first time in 160 years. I know you got the message with the Nagarro case, when they couldn't announce their decision that ruled the Reconstruction Act unconstitutional, which affected the same thing to the 14th Amendment, and that's all they have. So we'll see, Adam, but it's been such a great fun doing this, and I'm sure we'll be doing it again for you listeners out there. Look at us, we're not going anywhere here.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank both of you.
Thank you
Look forward to
both.
seeing you again.
Alrighty, y'all. There ain't no more than I can say. Diesel for We the People News. Till next time. Bye.